Veronique here with our tutorial on transitioning from Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. I've done each of these shapes, the tutorials for those in previous videos, so if you want to look at those tutorials back in the library, you are welcome to go back. And so with the knowledge of these shapes together, this is one of my favorite transitions, and as we're building a vinyasa flow, it's nice to find these transitions that are graceful and fluid and having that quality of lightness. So we'll start with our half moon pose. I invite you to have a block, and we'll start standing at the part of the mat that is sort of at the center. I'm not on a mat today, but you certainly can have a mat. And we'll start with the right leg onto the ground. You can bring the block underneath your hand. And so kind of come into this fairly quickly. So if you want to kind of warm up through cat-cows and find some movement first, if this is the first movement you're doing today, that might be helpful. And so just taking a moment in your half moon pose, just feeling the shape, and then just visualize in your mind's eye what needs to happen to come into your Warrior 2. So maybe you extend that top arm up. You could be here. And then I recommend gazing down, have a soft bend into the right leg. And so you're landing the back foot onto the ground really slowly so that you can come into your Warrior 2. Finding that shape. Good. So then lengthening through the legs. So I'll move through that a little bit more quickly so you can kind of see how that would transition into your flow. So imagining we're moving. So one of the great parts of this vinyasa, right, is sometimes we'll build the shape lingering in the breath for maybe 5 breaths, and then we'll flow it breath per movement. So this time, imagining we're in that flow state. So you'll inhale, arrive into your half moon, and then exhale, soft bend into that knee, come back, land lightly back into your Warrior 2. Good. So if that's going smoothly, so certainly if you're feeling a little wobbly, take your time with this, right? So you might find that taking an extra breath in your half moon pose, practicing half moon pose with your back against the wall is a really wonderful way to just feel like you can stack the shoulders and the hips and get that opening. And then transitioning, you can do this entire thing with your back against the wall. So kind of feel out where you want to be. You could also have a wall just nearby just for peace of mind. So imagining that you feel confident in this transition, we'll shift to breaking up with our block, perhaps feel for this idea. So finding this sort of like light, airy, dancer-like quality. So inhale, shifting forward, finding your Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose, so hovering those right fingertips, and then soft bend into the right leg, just as you did before, landing in your Warrior 2. So finding that the movement is slow. So part of the key principles is bending into the right leg, and then you're engaging into the core, and you're trying to delay landing that back leg for as long as you can, right? So just to show you in slow time. So just moving the block out of the way so it's not inhibiting you, and certainly if you're still practicing with the block, feel free to use the block for some time, right? So inhale, shifting forward. Notice how I'm already starting with the shoulders and the hip open, right? So it's just floating the shape into existence. And I'm lingering for a deep inhale here. And then it's a slow exhale, right? Bending into that front leg. And then notice how my foot kind of wiggles and woggles around and then landing in that Warrior 2 shape. Right? Notice how very similar these two shapes are. This is why I've done many, many flows, classes that I've taken and classes that I've taught, where that's a sequence of coming into the half moon pose, coming into Warrior 2. And we could build that flow breath per movement. So just to give you an idea, I'll just switch to the other side. You can switch to the other side with me. The left foot is forward, and there's that nice bend into the leg. And so we're thinking about springing into the shape, right? So there's that nice graceful quality, right? So kind of letting go of the fear necessarily of sort of cautiously coming into it, and then maybe you're kind of squaring the hips, right? Really feel for, you're already open, you're grounding down into that standing leg, you're gazing down, so you're super steady, and the breath is really nice and fluid, right? So you're inhaling, float, find your half moon pose. And then we're exhaling, bending into that front leg. Try to delay landing, coming back into your warrior two. And then we'll flow like that. So let it be wobbly. If you come out of it, that's okay. Floating into it. And then exhale, soft bend in that front leg. Notice, right, how my ankle starts to stabilize, wiggling and woggling. I don't know if that's like a real word, but we'll just do that twice more. Inhale. Shift it forward, feel for lightness. And exhale, soft bend into the front leg, landing that right leg far back behind you. And then just one more time, inhale, spring forward, feel for strength into the left leg. And also strength into the right leg, right? It creates a lot of strength to be able to lift it up with that strength of the glute, and then landing back into your warrior two, right? So if you're confused about those shapes individually, once again, feel free to go back and revisit those individual tutorials on half moon pose and warrior two. Looking at these shapes together, some things to think about are having your back against the wall, having your hand on a block for the transition so you can start to feel the dynamics in your body, sort of cultivating with your breath, with your gaze, all of these things. And then notice what needs to integrate. So a lot of the focus is thinking about where is the weight shifting, right? Just getting really friendly of where's my attention, how can I engage? So some things that I think about in the standing leg is a little micro bend into that front knee, and that helps remind me to engage through that quad. I like to think about where the shoulders and the hips are in any given shape, right? So we're moving from open hip, open shoulder shape to open hip, open shoulder shape. So rather than kind of coming out of it and then re-expressing the shape, trying to keep that opening the entire time will help make that transition even more beautiful and feel just really lovely in the body. Any questions at all, please list them in the comment below, and you can subscribe by clicking on that bell, and you'll be the first to be notified when I post these new tutorials every month. I do like to put classes on here on occasion, and I am so open to any requests that you have for future tutorials. I thank you so much for practicing, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you.